Today's world moves at lightning speed, driven by sharp minds, smarter machines, and unstoppable innovation. Missiles fly without pilots, and satellites spy without blinking, while war has become a game of wires, speed, and power. Let's go back in time. Back to a time when armies marched on sand, when steel was still a marvel, and survival hinged on raw strength, cunning plans, and bold leaders. So, here's a real question. How did the ancient pharaohs defend their realm when danger loomed? What savage tools did they use? What brutal brilliance powered their victories? To answer that, we're to dive into the world of pharaohs, where warfare wasn't just survival, it was dominance written in bronze and blood. Number 1. The khopesh sword. No discussion of ancient Egyptian weaponry is complete without the legendary khopesh. This curved sword is one of the most iconic symbols of power in the pharaoh's arsenal. Unlike many linear blades used in other cultures, the khopesh featured a unique scythe shape that combined the best of both cutting and hooking techniques. Its unique design allowed warriors to hook an enemy's shield or disarm an opponent with one swift motion. In close combat, this weapon delivered slashing blows that left lasting impressions on opponents. The dual functionality, able to both cut and hook, meant that a single strike could disrupt an enemy's defense while opening up an opportunity for a follow-up blow. Artisans crafted these swords with great care. They often used bronze or later iron to produce blades that were both durable and lethal. However, khopesh's design evolved over time as battlefield needs changed and techniques improved. The weapon's combination of beauty and brutality made it a favorite among the warrior elite. Number 2. Obsidian tipped spears. One of the most fascinating aspects of Egyptian warfare was how the natural environment influenced weapon design. The ancient Egyptians discovered that obsidian, a naturally occurring volcanic glass with an almost mirror-like shine, made perfect spear tips. These obsidian-tipped spears were small but deadly, so Egyptians carved these tiny weapons with remarkable skill. Despite their modest size, the inherent sharpness of obsidian meant that these spear tips could slice through flesh and bone with ease. Their design was straightforward. A wooden shaft provided the reach and handling, while the obsidian tip delivered the piercing blow. The evolution of these spears marked an important bridge between crude, early hunting tools and the more refined weapons used in large-scale warfare. In the hands of an experienced warrior, the obsidian-tipped spear was a symbol of both nature's bounty and man's ingenuity. Its lightweight design allowed soldiers to use them either as thrusting weapons in a close fight or to throw them at enemies from a distance. This versatility made them a valuable asset on the battlefield, enabling pharaohs to field troops that could adapt quickly to various combat scenarios. Number 3. Chariots. Now, while many of the weapons used by Egyptian warriors were handheld, none were as transformational to ancient warfare as the chariot. These expertly designed vehicles brought mobility and firepower together, giving pharaohs a significant edge on the battlefield. The Egyptian chariot was typically a two-wheeled vehicle used primarily as a platform for warriors and archers. This innovation allowed armies to move quickly over desert terrain while simultaneously launching rapid attacks on their enemies. The charioteer, often accompanied by an archer, maneuvered around opponents, releasing arrows in quick succession, and then darted away before a counterattack was mounted. The element of speed and surprise provided by chariots was critical in an era where the slightest delay could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Additionally, chariots not only improved mobility but also served as a status symbol. They were beautifully constructed, often adorned with intricate carvings and decorated to reflect the glory of the pharaoh. These vehicles played a central role in many battles, and their use was carefully recorded in art and hieroglyphs. Number 4. The composite bow. However, the composite bow stood out as one of the most advanced weapons in the pharaoh's inventory. This bow was a leap forward from earlier forms of ranged weaponry, thanks to its use of multiple materials and refined design. The composite bow was made by laminating layers of wood, horn, and animal glue. This combination produced a 1.5-meter-long bow that was both strong and flexible, allowing for a better power-to-weight ratio. Its design was refined through trial and error, and the result was a bow that could launch arrows with high velocity and accuracy. It could go up to 250 to 300 meters. On the battlefield, this meant that even from some distance, Egyptian archers could attack opponents with ease. What made the composite bow especially interesting was its role in the evolution of warfare. It allowed armies to engage in a sort of distance combat long before muskets or cannons existed. Archers equipped with composite bows fired in rapid succession, and when paired with the mobility of chariots or organized infantry formations, they decimated enemy forces with precise, well-coordinated volleys. Number 5. The horn bow. Now, before the composite bow became a fixture of the Egyptian military, the pharaohs turned to another ingenious creation, the horn bow. Similar in design than its composite successor, the horn bow served as a formidable ranged weapon, perfect for the early days of Egyptian warfare. Constructed primarily from horns of an animal like deer, the horned bow was both effective and relatively easy to produce. Its design focused on giving warriors a tool that was light enough to handle quickly, yet strong enough to send an arrow flying with surprising force. This early innovation in archery laid the groundwork for more advanced weapons later on. The horned bow was key in battles where direct confrontation was not always possible. With these bows, soldiers launched arrows that felt like rain on enemy formations. The speed with which a warrior launched an arrow and let it fly was critical during engagements, especially when combined with the element of surprise provided by the desert environment. Over time, as the Egyptians refined their techniques and materials, the horned bow's design evolved into the more complex composite bow. However, the horned bow remains an important reminder of an era when simplicity and speed ruled the battlefield, and when every weapon was a vital piece of the military puzzle. Number 6. Battle axes. Next, there's something undeniably brutal about a battle axe. In ancient Egypt, battle axes were designed with one purpose in mind: deliver crushing, decisive blows that could shatter any enemy's defenses in one hit. So these weapons were not just practical, they were terrifying. Crafted with a heavy stone or bronze head attached to a sturdy handle, the crescent-shaped battle axes delivered massive impact. Their weight and design allowed a warrior to swing with enough force to crack helmets and even splinter shields. Also, battle axes were often used in close combat, where the short distance allowed soldiers to put their full weight behind each swing. This was especially effective in the chaotic fight of a battlefield, where an axe could turn the tide by cleaving through armor and bone. The effectiveness of the battle axe is well documented not only in historical records, but also in the vivid images and carvings found in ancient temples and tombs. In many ways, the battle axe embodied the raw, unrefined power of ancient Egyptian warfare, a weapon that didn't need subtlety to be effective. Number 7. Stone maces and clubs. Moreover, not every weapon in the Pharaoh's arsenal was designed to cut or pierce. Some were built simply to crush, like the stone mace and club, a weapon that, while blunt and unrefined compared to a sharp sword or spear, could be just as devastating in the right hands. The stone mace was often made by attaching a round or spherical metal head to a long wooden handle. This weapon used the simple yet effective principle of transferring mass and momentum. A single swing of a mace shattered bone and dented armor. It was the tool of choice when the aim was to knock an enemy unconscious or to break through a shield wall, and was particularly useful in hand-to-hand combat where the close quarters meant that every blow counted. So their design might appear basic, but their ability to deliver a relentless, bone-crushing strike made them indispensable for certain battalions within the Egyptian military. Additionally, clubs and maces were easily produced and maintained. In a time where metalworking was precise and resource-intensive, having weapons that relied on readily available stone and wood meant that even lower-ranking soldiers could be armed effectively. This democratization of weaponry played an important role in sustaining prolonged military campaigns, allowing the Pharaoh's army to remain well-equipped throughout many. Number 8. Javelins. Next, in ancient Egypt, javelins were prized as both a throwing weapon and a thrusting implement in close combat. Their long, slender shafts and pointed diamond-shaped tips made them ideal for quick strikes and sudden, brutal force. They were light and easy to carry, giving soldiers the freedom to move quickly during battle. When a Pharaoh's soldier spotted an opening in the enemy lines, the javelin was thrown with precision to disable or even kill an opponent. And beyond their use as projectiles, javelins were versatile enough to be used in hand-to-hand fighting if the situation turned desperate. This dual role made the javelin a favorite among troops who needed to adapt quickly to the shifting dynamics of battle. Number 9. Daggers. Whenever battles turned chaotic and soldiers found themselves in tight, confined spaces, daggers became the weapons of choice. These small, easily concealed weapons were used to get close and deliver the fatal blow when an enemy least expected it. Daggers were designed for precision. Unlike long swords or spears that required space to swing, these short blades were perfect for quick stabs and slashes. In the heat of close combat, a dagger meant the difference between life and death. Its small size allowed it to be carried discreetly, ensuring that even when a soldier was otherwise unarmed, he could still defend himself or strike unexpectedly. Thus, these weapons played a vital role in the Pharaoh's military strategy. They were often used as backup by archers and charioteers who ran out of ammunition or were forced into a hand-to-hand fight. In such moments, a swift stab with a dagger silenced an enemy instantly. Moreover, the element of surprise that a hidden blade carried was invaluable. This added another layer of terror to the Egyptian military's already formidable reputation. Number 10. The sling. Also, not every weapon needs to be flashy to be effective, and the sling is a classic example of this truth. Often overlooked in favor of edged weapons and advanced bows, the sling was a simple yet deadly ranged weapon that played a crucial role in many Egyptian battles. It was one of the easiest weapons to make, yet one of the hardest to defend against. Typically constructed from leather or woven fibers, slings allowed a soldier to hurl stones at an enemy with surprising speed and force. Despite its humble appearance, a well-aimed stone did serious damage, especially when thrown by a practiced hand. So unlike bows, which required considerable skill and maintenance, the sling was straightforward to use and required minimal training. This made it an ideal weapon for arming large numbers of foot soldiers, ensuring that even common troops could become effective and deadly on the battlefield. Scholars and historians note that slingers were highly valued in many ancient armies, not just in Egypt, but also in other cultures throughout the Mediterranean. In Egypt, the sling was a perfect complement to the more technologically advanced weaponry like the composite bow, adding another layer of flexibility and range to the pharaoh's military tactics. Now, if we ask you, what are your thoughts about these ruthless weapons pharaohs used to crush their enemies? Share with us in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.